So, welcome. I'm Robin Sweetapple. I'm the chair for the Fire Police Facility Committee. I'll talk a little closer to this. Sorry about that. And basically, we have you here tonight because we want to show the plans and talk about the progress that we've made so far with police fire facilities. So, to introduce, Steve Horton is our project manager. John Allen is our non-voting select board member.
Non-voting.
Non-voting. Tony Farnham, Mr. Phil Chapman, Kathy Dowd, Bruce McKinney. We've got David Emery and Eli Gould. And the co-chair is Steve Phillips. So we want to inform the public of the progress that we've made. And to date, we have the floor plans that we approved today. And we're recommending that the select board approve them at their meeting on Tuesday. Our committee has been meeting since April of 2013, and we helped to interview and hire the architect, and we chose Ray Gilletto, sorry, from the Northeast Collaborative Architects. We also extended Steve Horton's contract so that he would go through the construction documents, and we helped hire the construction manager, which is DEW. The committee's been reviewing and making recommendations to the select board on changes to the design of the facilities throughout the year. And some of the recommendations have included a new fire station in West Brattleboro due to serious issues with the structure in order to save money, and eliminating a basement in the police addition to the municipal center. Each of these recommendations has saved significant amounts of money to the project costs. In the next steps, after the floor plans are approved by the select board, if the floor plans are approved by the select board, will be the construction documents, which is a whole separate phase of the architects to get us to the step, which is April 1st, I believe? April 30th, sorry about that. And I'd like to introduce Chief Mike Bukowski of the Fire Department and also Chief Rin of the Police Department. They're going to give you a little overview of some of the challenges that they have in the existing facilities. And then after that, Steve Horton is going to come up and he's going to talk to you about the project, update you on that, and then they're going to walk us through the plans. And then we'll have time for question and answers. We've left a lot of time because there's a lot of people here. Please keep your comments to about 2 minutes, and we're basically going to have to time some of it, but we want to hear from everybody. And with that, I'll leave it to the chiefs.
Good evening. We've been at this process now for almost 3 years, just this round of these talks. All along we've said that all of the facilities have health, safety, and structural issues, and this is why we needed this project to move forward. From the fire department standpoint, I feel very confident that all of our issues are being addressed through all of these plans. We've worked very closely, and I think just to kind of lay it out, we've worked very closely with the Citizens Committee. We've also, within the fire department, have an employee committee that represents the entire group that we've been meeting with that just bring mostly the flow of the structure, the flow of the floor plans, so it works more efficiently for staff and doesn't interfere, the public part doesn't interfere with their daily spaces, which is a big problem that exists now. So a lot of people have had say on the designs, and again, I think that truly we're moving forward in a good place, and all of our issues should be addressed in this.
Just real quickly, some of you have heard it, some of you have gone through the tours and see the police department. I'll speak just for the police department. Some of the major issues that we had downstairs was the cruisers pulling into the back, snow coming off the roof, potentially injuring people and officers coming in there. We had to cell block the stairs that are real narrow and real steep to bring prisoners down. Many of them are impaired. We have no separate locker rooms for female employees and male employees, so it creates potential for liability down there. And the last thing is in our basement area, it's wet. We're losing records down there. We've got years of records that we're losing due to water and moisture, as well as black mold stuff growing on the wall. So those are some of the problems that we're currently experiencing, and we have been for many, many years. These designs you see here, we've been working with the project manager and the architect on. This will solve all of our problems that we're currently experiencing. We're very happy with these plans, and we can answer any questions in a layman term, but we'll leave that up to Steve and Ray to answer questions you have for further into the plans. Questions for Mike or I? We'll turn over to Steve.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Practice this. Quick.
I won't take much time. The majority of the evening should be spent on reviewing the plans and then answering your questions. I'm Steve Horton, by the way, and project manager for you for the town of Brattleboro. Just to quickly outline the process a little bit. Every successful project requires a multiple input from all the players. We have incorporated the building committee, the town, the fire department, the police department, and actually anyone that has provided us with input. We've incorporated their thoughts and considerations into our process. Not every item or a specific detail has been added into the plans. We have our priorities, which is providing the programmatic space necessary for the safety and security of the general public here in Brattleboro, but also budget. And budget's a big concern with the building committee, the town, and all the players involved, including our architect, Ray. And I've been your watchdog on that budget so far today, and I'd be happy to answer any general questions you may have about that later on. But it's important to note that there have been many people involved in this process. We'll continue to involve as many people as possible in the process, their input, with the priority being the best value for the money, and the outcome being the highest regard and value for the safety and security of the folks in Brattleboro. So with that, Ray, I'm going to act as Ray's assistant tonight. And we'll be going through a series of quick boards on each of the three projects. We're going to start with West Brattleboro first. West Brattleboro happens to be the most developed project and perhaps has the most detail.
Thank you. I'm Ray Toledo with Northeast Collaborative. The West Brattleboro, after some due diligence investigation and discussions with the committee, it was decided that it is more cost-effective to build a new station out the corner of Western Avenue and south. The existing station is here, which you can see in the survey. The new station is adjacent to it. It's about 4,300 square feet. It has 3 bays. This hatched area here is the new concrete apron in front of the station. Just for orientation, the sidewalk along Western Avenue is here and it ends, and then the street line comes along like so. We were fortunate enough to find a deed that shows that the fire department does have access to this additional piece of property here. So there will be a sidewalk connecting the existing station and the new, with the main entrance here, and then some walkways around the back of the building for exiting purposes. So that if you parking spaces here, going down to the main entrance here, and now I can show you the floor plan as you come into the building. So you enter the building here with a lobby, which essentially brings you right into the large apparatus bay, which we're showing 5 vehicles in here now, 4 vehicles in here now. Off to the right is an office and a watch area. And then the back section here would be kitchen, dining area, living area for the firefighters, 2 bunk rooms with 3 bunks each, toilet and a shower, and then coming through from the living area into the apparatus bay, passing through turnout gear storage, and then we've got a gear storage, gear extractor, cleaner here, and a shop. And because we need the height necessary to get on top of the vehicles, we've created a mezzanine above these 3 rooms, which adds for additional storage, and the mechanical, electrical rooms are up there. The three-dimensional view of the station, looking at the entrance, you'd be parking here, coming down the walk, main entrance here. Here are the 3 bay doors. The one thing I neglected to show you is we have a decontamination room, so if a firefighter has some contamination, they can come in right outside, get cleaned up, go through to a clean room, and then be able to go out. So that's what this this section of the building is here, so you can come in on this far side. So essentially, it's about 20 feet high to the roof trusses. The entire building will be wood frame, clapboard siding, white trim, cupola, architectural shingle, so fairly straightforward, we hope, in character with the neighborhood. And this is the rear portion of the building. This is the sleeping quarters here, leaving some room here for potential increase in the size of the building in the future if necessary. So,
Go on to the next
keep
one.
going. Okay.
Are you going to take questions by project or at the end?
After, thank you.
All right, so next we'll go to the central fire station. The existing central fire station, you can follow my pointer, is about that large. The gray area here, in this small section here, is the addition. Elliott Street, Church Street, Spring Street. The addition is on the north side of the building, in the back. The purpose of the addition is to accommodate the larger vehicles, with some of the smaller vehicles that are now left outside being able to be accommodated in the existing apparatus bay. Large apron out in front of this apparatus bay, so vehicles would come out, turn south on Spring Street, and then go in whichever direction necessary on Elliott. Some additional small area of parking here, and a walkway to a new entrance on the east side. On the north side of the property, approximately in this location, is where the existing building is that the town will be purchasing and demolish. So the retaining wall on Church Street will become exposed. The addition will stay away from that. We'll just fill in a little bit with some earth here and provide some planting to make this corner of Church and Elliott Street a little bit more attractive. First floor, if you were a visitor, you would come into the new entrance. You would have access to a stair and elevator to go upstairs to the administrative area, or you could potentially be greeted by a firefighter here if you're here for a tour. The existing apparatus bay are 4 bays here. Again, smaller vehicles would now be able to be accommodated here. The dive team bus and the fire alarm pickup truck will be housed in this small apparatus bay. Fire alarm office remains as is. The watch area has now been enlarged so it can accommodate shift change and report writing. So this is an existing space that will get renovated. And then the major addition of the apparatus bay here, you can see there are 3 long bays, the longest vehicle in the center. And then to the north of that is a shop with some parts storage and a small shop and a stairway from the floor above. And then another decontamination facility where you come in, clean up, go to the clean area and then come back out to the building and a small washing area. Officers coming from upstairs and from anywhere else in the building, we've taken the back part of the apparatus bay and created a corridor with all of the turnout gear on each side of that corridor. So a firefighter can come down and go in any direction, gear up any direction to the vehicle and out. And then the remaining area here is for some storage, and then a new hose drying tower in the northwest corner. The second floor will essentially be gutted. Right now there's a large community space here which will be now in the new addition. And essentially what we're doing on the second floor is on the northwest and southwest corner are the bunk rooms, the living room and kitchen area for the firefighters, and locker rooms around the core. Male and female locker rooms, toilet facilities, showers, etc. When you visit the facility, if you're coming off the elevator, you have direct access to the administrative area, which has the chief's office, deputy chief, small conference room, office manager, and records, and a few additional office for the fire prevention and some storage. There is also access through here to a mezzanine similar to what we provided at West Brattleboro. Again, because of the height of the space, we get to grab some almost free space here for a mezzanine for storage that is accessible from the second floor as well as a stair from the apparatus bay. The third floor, which is above the new apparatus bay addition, has a large multi-purpose room which community uses, police uses, fire uses, a training room for the firefighters. That's on the west side here with a very small kitchen, pantry. On the east side is a fitness room and a new emergency operations center. So the emergency operations center that's currently here in Town Hall in the basement will move to the central station. So there's emergency operations, there's a communications room, and then really the heart of the facility, which would be the data and technology storage closet off to the side here. This is a view looking from the northwest, looking out towards Elliott Street. Elliott Street would be on the opposite side of the building here. This is the addition, 3 new bays. This is the community room, multi-purpose room, and the training room. The existing building is back here. This is the new hose tower. One of the things we try to take advantage of, as long as we're doing a hose tower for drying hoses and tarps, we also try to make it available for other uses. So we incorporate a small balcony with a ladder going up to it, which can be used for training purposes, and that a fire vehicle, a ladder truck could be out here, ladder practice, you can rappel down it, you can do rescues from the balcony, all sorts of things that can be done there, so that, again, as long as we're building it, we might as well use it for other uses. And this would be the new view from Elliott Street. This is the existing building up to this point. This is all new back here, the new entrance on the east side. We will be replacing the vinyl windows with new aluminum windows, replacing the overhead doors. This is the new elevator tower, and back here is the post drying tower. And these are windows into the lobbies on the second and third floor.
Afterwards, let me tell you one more read, because I told you my concerns while we're voting, so this room, and I have some answers now. I'll tell you after. Okay.
Could you pause for questions before we go into the police?
Up to you.
Answer questions before we go into the police. I'm going to leave this up to Patrick.
It's fine, but if you want to ask questions, would you mind going to the microphone and state your name?
Arlene Distler, District 2. On the West Brattleboro station, you talked about the old building. I'm wondering if there's a use plan for it, or...
Oh, Patrick, do you answer this?
Hi, Arlene. Patrick Morley. Not too long ago, the committee had entertained a recommendation from the architect and from the project manager that instead of the renovation and addition initially planned in the conceptual design plan could be replaced at less expense with a new construction facility. That's what was shown here. I think that the default position at the moment is that the project could carry the demolition of the existing facility. The Police and Fire Project Committee have no particular stance on that building, and the Brattleboro Select Board has not taken a particular stance or even entertained a different stance. So I think until such time as a serious proposal was presented for consideration, I think the default position would be that this project would encompass taking down that building. Is that an answer?
Yeah.
Could I ask a related question? Chris Lenoir, District 2. Just a similar related question, because when Arlene asked her question, I had a thought in my head. When you're going to be replacing things like doors and windows rather than just demolishing it, is there a plan in place for recycling those materials? Thank you.
It's a very good question. We haven't discussed it yet, but I think it's something we can certainly discuss with the construction manager about salvage, where it could be stored, and how can we best do it. We're all for green. So it's a good comment. I'll make sure I write a note about that. I see some people writing a note already. Thank you. Okay, on to the municipal center, which is where the police addition will take place. The design is slightly revised based on comments that we received from the Development Review Board, other comments about how the site is used, traffic patterns, traffic flow. So I'll first start with the site plan itself, and then I'll describe. I know it's already been discussed that there will be no basement, and there are some significant reasons and cost savings for that. However, as you come into the site from Grove Street, the requirement now is as you come into the site, you must take a left, which brings you around a newly designed parking lot. So what I'll say hodgepodge striping that we've got right now in the middle of the lot will all get redesigned. We've got islands and peninsulas so that there's a safe way to get from the back parking spaces on a sidewalk to the new main entrance to the back of Town Hall. So coming in, you have to take a left, you have to come all the way around, and then you exit onto Main Street. Police vehicles would come in and take a right. Police now have use of all of the parking on the south side of the site. Patrol vehicles can park along the south side of the drive, with some additional spaces on the north side of this area. Police will also be allowed to come straight through because we have a vehicle sally port where police vehicles will enter if they've got a prisoner with them, or they can come through and have a quicker exit out to Main Street. But other than emergency police vehicles, you've got to come in, take a left, come all the way around, and come out. It should prevent some traffic calming. It'll be a much safer way to get from the parking lot to the entrance. The new main entrance, because of the fact you can see this gray area here is the police addition. So it's on the west and south sides. So it wraps around from here over here. And to accommodate a common lobby, one rear entrance to the town hall and police, the new entrance will be on the north side, with the majority of people parking here and along the south end of the state office building. So coming through the walk, you come right to the entrance. From here, you would come to the entrance. So the new entrance, you come in, and then I'll show you on the plan how you come into the new lobby and to Town Hall and to police. We essentially have 3 levels for the new police facility. One is at ground level. If you remember, when you come into the Town Hall, you come in and you have to walk up a bunch of steps or come up a half a level in an elevator. So in order to get police vehicles into the sally port and to accommodate fairly quick exiting from the roll call room out to vehicles and such, the first floor, if you will, of police is at ground level, so it's at grade. So when you come into the new rear entrance, if you take left, you come up the stairs that you use now and come into the Town Hall hallway, or you use the elevator that is there now, or you come straight ahead into a new small police lobby, which gives you access to the dispatch area, which has room for 3 dispatchers and a supervisor. So this is where you would have your day-to-day transaction with dispatch. There's also a safe interview room and a public toilet part of the lobby. Once you're past that lobby, you're now on the secure side, or the police staff side of the facility. We've got the sally port, as I mentioned. It's 2 bays. A police officer comes in, brings a prisoner into the booking area, the cell area, toilets, decontamination facility. As you progress your way through, roll call room. Roll call room has emergency access to the cell block, has direct access out to the vehicles, a rear exit here, and then the remainder of the first floor is the patrol division, with patrol workstations, sergeant and lieutenant, small break room, toilet, and some storage. The next level is a half a flight up, which would be equal to the first level of Town Hall, the floor below us. Come on.
Want that one?
Yeah, thank you. So this level is the floor below us at Town Hall. So it's about 4 feet above grade. So you're coming up a small wheelchair lift or half a flight of stairs. And what we're accommodating on this floor are the locker room spaces. Men's and women's locker rooms and small storage for tactical gear. And now this is a secure area as well. There'll be a secure door here. So this is basically for police only. On the opposite side of the hallway on the first floor, police will be vacating the north side. Police will be taking over the space where planning is, which is down on that direction, right above here. So we'll be moving the planning office down to the first floor. So we've worked with the planning department to set up a small conference room in their storage and file areas. So that'll be renovated in Town Hall. The final floor, which is level with the floor we're on now for police. Again, you can see the addition wrapping around the west and south. Doesn't take up the full footprint. You can see there's roof out here. If you're visiting the police, say at a conference, or you need to talk with a detective, you get off the elevator or the stair, you come through here. This is where detectives are. So detective workstations, detective officers, evidence processing, evidence storage, and a training room here, conference room, multi-purpose room. Coming down through, we've got the area for ammunition storage, weapons cleaning, a fitness room, and the data closet for all of the computer equipment for the police. Small storage room for uniforms. This is records area. Again, you now would be able to access records directly from the second floor to a public records counter. A records clerk, you could retrieve an accident report or whatever other reports you may be needing to get. And then through there, or through this door, is the police administration, the chief, deputy chief, administrative, and a small conference room. One of the challenges with the project is that this building, the town hall, is on the National Register of Historic Places, and we're attaching a fairly secure building to it. And the regulations are that anything we cover, anything we remove has to either be uncovered in the future or, and we're not supposed to damage anything. So one of the criteria is all of this fancy brickwork at the eaves around the entire building. We need to stay away from that. So we're trying to get the building just underneath it. We're raising up a little bit at the training room and then wrapping around with various levels of roof so that you really can see as much of the historic building as you look at the building from the parking lot as possible. So this is the new main entrance to town, to the back of Town Hall, parking along here, parking along the back, and there will be signage to guide you to that. This is where the cell block and booking area is, and detectives are up here. From the, oh, it's just the opposite.
Which one?
Yeah.
You're fired, Steve.
From the south side, again, you've got Town Hall behind you. This is patrol, fitness, and other and administrative areas would be back here. Locker rooms back here. So again, we're wrapping around the building. The goal is to try to have some of the detail of the existing building with, you know, the building right now has a water table and some rusticated stone. We'll be doing that in concrete block around. We'll get a reasonably close match to the building. But as one of the committee members said, when you've got a very historical building, the Department of Interior says, don't try to match it, don't try to mimic it. Let it be known that it's an addition and make it simple. So simplicity is good for that as well as for the budget. So, and we'll try to get the brick to match as much as possible. Yeah, I think looking at it in addition is good, in elevation. This is what it looks like in a flat-on elevation on the north side. You've got, that's the fire escape, which is right behind us here, Town Hall, and the addition dropping down, if you will, in scale to the parking lot. This is the south side. The generator is here. The library would be approximately here. And police vehicles would be parked along here, so you can, again, you can see how the addition progresses down. Yes. Yeah, it might be good to see what it would look like from Main Street. Looking back up to the building from Main Street, this is the east elevation. This is where the addition would be, albeit that it's probably 50 or 60 feet back from the front facade of Town Hall. And this is the west elevation, Sallyport doors. Again, you can see how the addition tries to show as much of the existing building as possible behind it.
So we got.
I think that's good.
All right. So now we'd like to open the floor to any questions about the plans or the programming for this. Please come forward and state your name.
My name is Bill Dyan. I was wondering, you have a larger footprint. I don't know what's concerned about the carbon footprint, amount of insulation, how much input energy committees put into it. Also, if there's any printed information on our values planned insulation. Also, I'd like to hear Kathy Dowd or Tony Farnham speak a little bit on what happened to their concerns on a handout they had at the committee meeting. So okay. I'd like to hear either Kathy.
You're concerned about, you want to know about the R values for the building envelope.
Yeah, and the energy committee's input into it.
Sure. And Steve, do you want to talk to that? And then, I guess...
And heat plant, too.
We'll talk to the last one.
And Steve will talk to the last one.
Ray, I think you should probably address the R values. We have had, to answer one of the underlying questions about the Energy Committee involvement. We have had several communications with the Energy Committee. Anyone is invited to our building committee meetings, it's a public meeting. But the Energy Committee, has been in attendance regularly. And we have been informing them of the plans as we go along. We've had some feedback from them, it's all been good. And we're awaiting some further feedback on choices of HVAC equipment. And Ray, I'll let you address the envelope, if you don't mind, in general terms.
Sure. In general terms, we've got essentially two levels of insulation values that we're looking at. One is basic Vermont Energy Code, what's the cost of that? And then increasing the insulation, for example, going to an R60 on the roof and R40 on the walls, what's the cost? And based on the final mechanical system, how much can we downsize the mechanical system and what's that cost benefit? So we're in that process at this point. The buildings will be tight. We'll be doing an air infiltration specification. So that part of it, I know we've got covered. We're just in the process of looking through the options of if we spend more money on insulation, how much will it save us on mechanical and fuel, and what's the cost benefit to make sure we get the best value.
Thank you. I'll address the handout that was referenced. For those who may not know, the committee has focused on the possibility of a reconsideration of the police project being attached to this building, the wisdom of it, whether there are better alternatives. And we spent a fair amount of time debating that. We tasked our experts, Steve Horton and Patrick Moreland, to go and look at a specific list of alternative sites, give us ballpark estimates of whether we could save money and accomplish the same goals, programmatic goals. The report came back and the committee unanimously agreed that, in fact, this was the most economical site for a couple of reasons. One, we would not be needing to acquire additional land, saving expense on that. Two, we would not have to take some other piece of land off the tax rolls, losing revenue for the town. And three, we would save money on the renovation square footage costs versus new square footage costs. A significant amount, because we would not need to build all of the new programmatic space. We could renovate some of it. And so each of the other alternatives that were discussed and proposed were more expensive. And we felt that we needed to look at that, reevaluate, because we didn't want to give a green light to a project that wasn't going to give us the best value. So as a committee, we've done that work.
James Van Sleven, District 2. We've been working on this project since November. I showed the preliminary small plans to the public. I've gotten nothing but 100% feedback. And you did hear what they had to say, so I'm proud of you. For example, that the handicap parking with the snow coming down, you took care of that really well. So that was one of the feedbacks I got from the public. The other question is there a solar panel potential for that roof in the future?
Which roof?
The police?
There always, I shouldn't say there always is, but yeah, there's a large movement towards renting flat roofs and adding solar panels to that and creating small solar farms. So the potential is always there. The one thing that we would have to study on the existing building is the capacity of the structural design of the existing building and whether or not it can take the 2 to 9 pounds that they typically require per square foot. In the new building, We don't have the entire structural calculations completed yet, but I think it would be safe to say that we will have design for the 2 to 9 pound load for future solar panel farm up there, if that's what the town decided to do.
Well, let's get those electric hybrids in the future.
Yeah, in West Brattleboro, the question came up at DRB, and we're confident that the root trusses in West Brattleboro would also take that load.
It's been a long road. It feels like 2-3 Affinity. So when do we get it?
I can't answer that question.
Well, my energy's getting drained. I'm pretty sure the committee's is too. So thank you very much for your time and good skill.
Are there any other questions?
Hi, I'm Veronica Wheelock, and I have a couple of questions. Could you speak a bit about the wisdom of forcing the traffic onto Main Street as opposed to using Grove Street? And secondly, are there plans, and could there be plans to renovate this front entrance? The steps are uneven, and it's not a very effective stairway. And also, if you look up at this entrance to the town building, there is all this really ugly insulation. And it's been like that for a long, long time. And I would hope that if we're spending all this money on this building, that we could improve that part of it as well, because people do use that entrance.
I will start with the answer about the improvements to the front of the building. And reluctantly, I have to say that it's not, unfortunately, that type of work is not part of the project, in that that's not what was officially voted on. I don't know that anyone perhaps would disagree with your perspective. It's just unfortunately not part of this project. As far as driving onto Main Street, police cruisers and vehicles, Chief, did you want to respond to that?
I can. We've looked at the parking situation and the traffic flow out here. We see a lot of complaints from employees here that we do have people coming up the wrong way. We have people use this for a thoroughfare all the time. It's really not what it's designed for. And it's a safety issue for town employees trying to get from the building to their cars. So we've got a lot of complaints. We've tried signs out there. We've tried enforcement out there. So this will really slow and calm that traffic down by doing that. What it may do, it'll put all the public traffic out to Linden Street, but it'll probably be decreased because people aren't going to be using it as a cut through. So we're hoping that it'll level out, and the people that use this lot will be able to get out there and won't be overcrowded.
I just wanted to address the issue of the staircase in the front of the building here. I think it likely would fall outside of the context of the police and fire renovation project. However, if you'll recall, I can't recall exactly whether it was last year or the year prior, some funds were set aside in the capital plan for resetting those front steps. And I believe the thinking at the time was that when this project was undertaken, it would be the ideal time to utilize the contractors and the folks that we would have on site to sort of look after those steps. So,
Great.
That's good.
Please, go for it.
I took pictures of that today.
Chris Lenoir, District 2. The area that you identified in there as the ammunition storage and gun cleaning area, there was something on that, and maybe I misunderstood, there was something on that that made me think that there might be practice there too for firearm use. And if firearms are going to be discharged, I was wondering what you're doing to remediate the sound. And
No firearms discharged.
Okay.
It has some storage for some apparatus that they would use out at a firing range, that's all.
Thank you.
Nancy Miller from West Brattleboro. I came over Route 9 tonight. which was a real experience. I'm concerned that this project has taken on the West Brattleboro Fire Station, and we're talking about replacing the whole thing, and we're saying, I'm hearing that it's going to save money, and I just really, I don't know how, in stone that proposal is to take down the West, or to build a new fire station in West Brattleboro. And I think, we're looking at such a huge increase in our taxes, and this $14 million project for the police and fire, and the police and fire. And I just am worried that it's going to run over 14 million. And I wonder what kind of breaks are incorporated into the plan. And I don't know if this committee has that responsibility, or if it'll be up to the select board, or who's, or just up to one person, but I'm very, very concerned about that.
Sure, Steve's going to speak to that.
So thank you. Budgetary concerns are a big focus of this committee. It's why I decided to join, because I was one of the skeptics as to whether we could afford this. And so at each meeting, we have hammered home to our project manager and to our architect the need for budgetary savings. So far, we think we're on track to actually do that. When the plan came forward to build a whole new facility in West B instead of renovating, I was among the skeptics there. We had good debate, some heated debate. Maybe the heat was coming primarily from me, but I'm convinced that renovating that existing space is a money pit. It has mold in the walls. If we renovated it, our project didn't even include fixing that. So we would have ended up with a building that was 3/4 good. Not functional. It would not have provided good sleeping quarters. And so I was skeptical at first too. I think our project manager has a great deal of experience in coming in on or under budget, and knows that that's the task you assign to him. The architect has said the budget is the budget. We're not going to exceed it. So if we can get more bang for our buck, I think we're doing the town a service. And I think West B is actually an area where we're going to save potentially $200,000.
Yeah. Yeah, you take it.
Yeah. There are some other outside influences that we've been using to come up with. Sorry, I lost you for a minute. Not addressed everybody, but we've been involving DEW, Vermont Construction Management Company, to help us with our estimating. And at certain steps in the process, we will incorporate their involvement to make sure that we're on task, and to make sure that we don't exceed the budget. Both Ray and I know from public experience that there is no more money. And so our job is to make sure that we stay within the budget. And we use outside help to confirm that. But in our early process with West Brattleboro, let me just give you some particulars that will help you understand or digest the information. The study had suggested that the West Brattleboro renovation in addition, which would provide about 3,500 square feet total. How much?
With the addition closer to 5 with the second floor.
Yeah.
Right.
But at any rate, that would have been a $1,250,000 renovation addition. In the time frame allowed for the study, it wasn't necessarily recognized in the study that the addition would be placed on top of a sewer tank, that the V-life pole would have to be relocated, and the generator would have to be relocated, and so forth, as well as transformer, etc. On early examination, we recognized that those would be costs that would be lost to the tune of $100,000 or $150,000, be totally lost by relocating those services. And so that's what began the discussion about a new building separate from that location. Not only did we have the mold aspect and a very old building that structurally did not have the integrity, but we had mold and other issues, but we also had that consideration. And so we looked diligently at the savings we would realize by not relocating these utilities. And that's what put us into the parking lot that we're talking about now. But in addition to that, we started talking about if we build a new building, you can't hear me, if we build a new building, then perhaps we could use wood framing, which would fit into the neighborhood and would be more cost effective than the masonry building considered in the study. All of that put into the recipe has brought us to at least a $200,000 savings in the idea of building a new building, which we find the outcome of is much more satisfactory to more people in that it has more space, better space, it fits into the neighborhood better than a masonry building, brick building would, and we can save money. And so that's what's led us to that conclusion. Too much of an answer?
No, it's just, it's still problematic for me in terms of cost overruns and for the whole, for all three. It's a huge, huge undertaking for this. This town is not increasing population. You know, we're still 13,000 more or less, and it's an expensive project. With education costs and everything, I'm very concerned.
With the oversight now that's out there. These guys have been dealing with them.
I respect all the work that everyone's done on it, but I have serious reservations about whether we can afford all three sites.
I can't speak to that aspect,
Yeah.
but I can speak to a little bit more detail about the control of the process, and we have incorporated into our process, again, diligent budgeting, as Steve has suggested. In addition to that, before we sign on to the building contractor's total estimate and cost, we'll be, one, negotiating that thoroughly between now and then. But in addition to that, they'll provide us with what they call a guaranteed maximum price, which they can't exceed. And so there are many control mechanisms in the process to help us stay within budget. I know that doesn't answer your question about population.
Peter Cooper, somewhere in your presentation you mentioned that there was not going to be a basement under the police station, was that right? And that was a savings as well?
Yes.
I'm curious about how much savings might be there. And then I have another just sort of question. I thought when you were describing the bays where in the West Brattleboro Fire Department, I think you said that bay area where the fire engines would actually go could accommodate, I thought you said 5 and then you said 4, but in the diagram there are 3 doors, and maybe you could explain how that works. How do you get them in there?
Sure. How about the police station question first? The original motive, again, in the study was, and again, allowing consideration for the amount of time that they had to create the study. There was not a consideration of excavating next to an existing building. And our building, our town hall, is essentially a stone foundation. And in order to excavate for a basement right next to a stone foundation, you can imagine the possibilities that can happen with that. In other words, collapse of the existing foundation and so forth. So in order to avoid that possibility, the study said, well, we'll drive what they call sheeting and piling next to the existing building to the tune of about $150,000. And when we came on board, so to speak, when I came on board, I combed the budget to look for savings. And the first thing I saw was, well, there's $150,000 that won't go to programmatic use. Won't benefit the police station, won't benefit anybody. We'll drive it in the ground, and then we'll pull it out of the ground. And we'll go to a scrapyard someplace. So as we started vetting that idea out, Ray's input, and then of course the chief's input, we realized that the basement space was less than pleasant anyways. No light, no natural daylight. People think basements are cheap. They're not, because you got to dig a hole, and then you put the same kind of building in a hole. So not necessarily cheaper, depending on how you finish them. And so we recognized that we should perhaps transfer that basement space, unpleasant, etc., into a different location. And that's the outcome you're seeing here is just that we transferred that space more or less over here and got it up on the ground where there's natural daylight, save some money, and better programmatic use for this environment. Okay? Want to go on to Central Station?
Westby.
So is there a dollar amount you can pin on that?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, the original study recognized $150,000 for sheeting and piling.
Okay.
So it's in that vicinity, 150, 200,000.
Thank you.
Station 2, we're showing 3 vehicle apparatus and then an ATV trailer, which is not used all the time. So that's how I got 4.
Oh, that's
So that's it's in the back of one of the engines, yeah.
I see. Thank you.
Square footage you can use in a basement.
Arlene Disler, District 2. My understanding is that we've taken out about 1/3 of the bond at this point. I'm wondering how far that's going to get us, where it'll get us to.
The initial thought process behind just taking out 1/3 of the bond was to save money, because you wouldn't be paying interest on the total bond. You'd only be paying interest on part of the bond. And early on, the question was asked, well, how much will we need to pay for the design process and the amount of construction that will happen in 2014? So the answer is that 1/3 of the money of $5 million? $5 million, I want to check myself, has been borrowed in consideration of my projected cost for the architect and the design process and my projected construction cost for the year 2014.
So what will you be building?
What will we be building?
Where will that money?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I answered your question literally, and I should have thought deeper. The rest of the story is that we intend to borrow the balance needed in the middle of this year, in June, July of this year. It's yet to be determined what that balance will be. We're still trying to figure out how much to borrow. There's been no decision based on that criteria yet, and I don't have the answer to that. But what we will build this year, we will start all 3 projects at once. In June or July of this year is the intention, and all 3 projects will be built in parallel, West Brattleboro is about a 4 to 5 month project. It's conceivable that West Brattleboro could be completed before the end of 2014.
And Steve, could you talk to why all 3 at once? Because
Yeah.
that was something the committee had asked as well.
Okay. Hang on. So,
Sorry.
it's all right. And so we are also starting Central and police about the same time. And the police station is about a 15-month project because there's renovations and additions and so forth and so on. And the Central station is about a 12-month project. So if you can forecast that out, it's conceivable that Central will be done in June, July of 2015, and that the police will be completed by the end of the year 2015. The reason why we want to build all three at the same time is, again, money. It's cost effective to have all three buildings being constructed at the same time for overhead reasons. We use the same administrative staff in the construction company to manage all three projects at once. And the architect and his staff will be providing their services in the same way, in that they will be providing their support services and using the same staff for all three projects. If we made them linear, then the overhead costs would be exponentially raised. So we've taken all that into consideration. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Are there,
Marshall Wheelock, and I also have multiple questions. One, when we saw the area that is going to be used for storing records, my first thought was, is that sufficient for the records that are currently in the basement of this building? And how far into the foreseeable future do we have capacity there? Secondly, what is the current plan for the space in the basement of this existing building that will be vacated? And thirdly, is the new parking going to be sufficient to still offer parking to all the people that work in the state office building?
Let's do the record storage first, Chief. Ray? I think I know the answer to that.
On record storage for police, the immediate records, which would be up on the administrative floor, would be between 2 and 5 years worth, I believe. The Emergency Operations Center, which is in the basement of this building, on the dry area of the basement of this building, which will be moving to Central, will then be the long-term record storage for police.
Okay.
The cell block area, which is in the basement in the southwest corner, will be vacated. That will be used for long-term evidence storage. So the evidence storage that we've designed on the second floor of police will be, again, shorter term, and we don't have to do any renovations to the cell block because we've got individual cells. The chief and his evidence officer can divide it up as needed. So it's a pretty decent area for that.
That pretty much answered it. We have just a whole bunch of records on the north side of the building. They're going to move to the south side. The old EOC, once it's vacated, it's just shelves that need to be built and make it accessible to the clerks that move them big boxes around.
Okay, but that's going to still alleviate the mold problem.
Yeah, the north side of this building underneath is very damp.
Okay, thank you.
The next question was, what about the basement? What are we going to do with the basement? There's nothing been decided officially on that yet, and that would be up to the town to decide how to best use that space. And now, parking.
You got the site plan out again?
Yeah, sure. It shouldn't come as any surprise that we're losing parking spaces. The study had a parking space loss of about 30. This current plan, now that this has been redesigned, we're losing about 40 parking spaces. Town manager has informed us that the state office building has relinquished its opportunity for about 15 spaces that they were using. So, yes, we do have a net loss of 25-ish. but I'll let Patrick discuss what the potentials are for current town employees.
Thank you. Since the beginnings of this project, it was known that there would be a loss of parking. Previously, we had an agreement with the state of Vermont such that they were able to use 15 or 16 spaces in the backside of the parking lot. When they were renovating the office building next door, I took the opportunity to discuss with them the continued use there, and we ended up sort of ceasing that agreement in preparation for this project. We recognized that we would be losing spaces, and the need for the town to be able to use as many as were available was foreseen, and so we moved accordingly. If we find that there is not enough parking spaces for town staff to be able to utilize, one of the options available, we could provide some permits to the High Grove lot for those employees, and that's just, hop, skip, and jump right across the street.
Okay.
Sir?
You mentioned town employees.
Yep.
During tax season, we don't want to scare any people off from having, by not having a place to park to pay their taxes.
Absolutely. And you'll notice what we do now is the town staff effectively get out of the way and provide the most convenient parking such that somebody who's stopping in and making a tax payment can do that. And I would imagine we would be doing the same thing here. I don't know that we've identified specifically which spaces those would be. They might be right here. We just get out of the way and make sure the most convenient locations are available for the public.
Thank you.
Will there still
Veronica?
be a handicap spot for the library exit?
Absolutely. Ray?
Yes, we had a meeting with the town planner and the director of the library, and based on the discussions with the the development review board, we more than likely will take a few spaces on the south side or the north side of the town hall property, designate that as an accessible space for the library, and do a new walkway to connect to Town Hall Walk and then here, which avoids what I've affectionately started to call the luge run from here all the way down this hill, which is really not very safe. So more than likely, we'll just take 2 spaces here and create a new walk, and that'll be the library accessible space.
Are there any further questions?
Go ahead.
I have another question. Nancy Miller, did the town acquire property of Custom Laundry? How did, or is Custom Laundry still there? I know it's not a business anymore, but what about that area?
The town is in the process of purchasing the Vanilla property, Custom Laundry. And the reason why we say that is that we had to conduct what they call a phase 1 and then a phase 2 environmental study, which is a normal process. And that took quite a bit of time to conduct the studies and get the results and then the reports and then the state of Vermont approval. The good news is that there was nothing found at that site.
It's not a brownfield.
Not a brownfield. The state is not requiring any remediation action there. Which, with those results, allowed the town to proceed with the purchase in that same process.
That's been handed over to you.
The attorneys do have.
You can't say the amount or anything, is that it?
I think we can.
We can. The purchase price was
Public
$290.
information. What was it?
I believe it was $290.
Yeah.
With
I was gonna say
the
285,
building owner
290.
taking responsibility for the knockdown building.
Correct. In Patrick's words, the agreement was, I think it's 290. I apologize for being vague, but it's in that proximity. And the agreement with the owner was that they would be responsible for demolishing the building down to the ground. They would leave the concrete. And part of this project will be to remove the concrete for the new addition of the central station.
Nancy, you look shocked that it's not a brownfield.
Yeah, because across the street,
Right.
the other laundromat, it's considered brownfield.
Yeah. They did
But
it?
maybe because we're a municipality, we got special.
No. It's probably worse.
They could float downhill.
We can certainly make the Phase 2 environmental review available if you want to have a look at it and read through it. I think it's lengthy and dry, but it's...
I'm sure it is.
It's available. One of the things my office got a telephone call late this afternoon from an Esther Smith who was saddened that she wasn't going to be able to be here tonight. She had a comment she wanted read into the record, and so if you don't mind, I'll just read her comment. I am Esther Smith. I cannot make the public meeting tonight. I want to object to the West Brattleboro Fire Station. It is too big for a rural area. It is inappropriate, and it looks like a prison.
That's the old one or the new one?
Not sure.
My assumption is that she is speaking to the design. It says, I object to the West Brattleboro fire design. It's too big for a rural area, inappropriate, and looks like a prison. Thank you.
Are there any more questions?
Can you see the new plans though?
The face over it.
I think she's thinking of
The old-
the
There are-
conceptual.
I just want to thank you all
Yeah,
for
Back River.
coming out
Yeah.
tonight, and it's been really interesting to hear what's on your minds, and it's some of the same things that we had as well, so thank you so much. And you're welcome to come to our meetings. They're Thursday, every other,
No, they're scheduled as needed.
oh, they're scheduled as needed now. So, but usually Thursday, 10 o'clock.
Should we clap?
Thank you.
Yes.
I think we should.
I do.